As you see, my topic involves the use of a particular protein that we have available here in the States, unfortunately not available in many countries of the world. But what I'd like to share with you in my hour together is the result of a little over 400 cases now I've done with regard to BMP application for alveolar ridge augmentation and related items, but this topic will be particularly focused on alveolar ridge augmentation. A concept that I really believe in and have talked about for many, many years, and is at the heart of what I think I'm all about with regard to what I stand for, what the Institute is about as well, and that is essentially this hybrid surgeon concept, meaning the challenge for all of us, in my humble opinion, as surgical-based individuals, those of us that have the restorative abilities to do the work with regard to implant dentistry, it's even better. But those of us that are surgically based, the challenge is to become a hybrid surgeon, meaning develop equal skill sets in both hard and soft tissue grafting. That's real important. And certainly soft tissue manipulation and grafting goes without saying, or it should. In order to do effective bone grafting, we should know how to work with soft tissue, certainly. So there's a science, there's an art to what we do. It should be integrated, but at the end of the day, it should be clinically relevant and evidence-based. How important is that today? The half-life of our material is, I used to say, less than 3 years. Now, the non-core material, meaning not anatomy, things like that will not change, but the half-life of the non-core material is less than 1.5 years, which means what you're about to see from me in this time frame, in roughly 1.5 years from now, half of it will be obsolete. A couple quick comments with regard to disclosure. Want to be clear on that right up front. These images I will share with you are of my own and of no one else's. Unless that's true, I would qualify it. So this is the outline I would like to cover with you. We'll look briefly at tissue engineering principles, look at the importance of cone beam CT, some key principles of bone grafting are in order, and then the heart of my presentation will be based on case presentations. We'll look at some complications and close out with what the future holds in tissue engineering. So, looking briefly at this concept of tissue engineering, the concept of the cell, the matrix, and the signal, or the growth factors. Of course, all three must be present for any tissue engineering concept to be true. And obviously, we know that at the end of the day, autogenous bone still is considered the the gold standard for what materials that we use. There's no question, because it has all of these entities. And it's inductive, it's conductive, and it's osteogenic, of course. Now that said, we've been able to use bioactive modifiers for a number of years. For me, I can go back some 20 years in using these blood-borne bioactive modifiers, and then, and more recently in the last 10 plus years, the recombinant proteins. These are all mitogens. That is a mitogen. This is a morphogen mitogen, as we're going to see. That's the timetable for me. Some 20 years ago, I started using PRP, and then after 8-10 years, PRGF, LPRF in the last 5 years, and haven't looked back with the second generation blood-borne bioactive modifiers you're going to see. But again, the topic today is right here, the use of BMP for alveolar ridge augmentation. The beauty of this de novo bone formation is that in as little as 1 week, we can see histologically osteoid formation. That's amazing. There's nothing we do that can give us that effect. Nothing at all at this point in time. So, maturation, a few cases were shown earlier this morning, even up to 8-9 months, and D3 bone was talked about. Quite honestly, 7 months is the reentry time for me, and it's a D2 quality bone virtually all the time. With exception, we'll get D3, but 7 months is the magic number for all of my BMP cases. You wait longer, it will become a D1 almost quality bone. So, depends on how you're working with this, and there is a method to the madness, if you will. But the bottom line is this is the actual sequence of events that occurs from implantation to chemotaxis to proliferation, differentiation, bone formation, and last but not least is remodeling. This bone will undergo remodeling, absolutely yes, but at the end of the day, it's bone like we have in our own body. It's an amazing process that occurs to develop this. Now, there's no question that the most osteogenic growth factor of the entire BMP family is 9. And there's a lot of work being done on it. Right now, it's gene therapy for the most part that's not approved by the FDA. But again, kudos to Rick Myron and his team. What they did here beautifully was with control, of course, a comparison of BMP 2, 7, and 9. And as you see here, from 10 to 50 to 100 to 200 nanograms, look at 9. Even at 10 nanograms, meaning the better the color, the more effective the bone turnover. So in essence, what this slide is showing us is that BMP 9, hands down, less of it is needed to create the same amount of bone as BMP 2, therefore less edema, and number 3 is less cost. We're waiting for this. It's going to be a year and a half or so till it comes out, but when it hits, it's going to be great.